Что-то как-то холодно, блин. Солнышко нагрело здесь.
Еда, как ты не нравишься?
Что ты такой морозец, что ли, уже? Что ты уже сейчас зима, что ли? Что, лето закончено, что ли, уже? А, лето уже было.
Я тоже так думаю.
Думаю, так, да.
Лысяп.
Это все будет.
Monkeys must be the greatest acrobats on the planet. And the babies are curious about everything.
dive challenge in San Diego, Rick Winters will be the first person ever to attempt a successful dive from 172 feet. In some ways, being the first is an advantage. If he comes up with a high score, the others will feel not only the pressure of the height, but the necessity of a great dive. In some ways, being first is difficult. Once you make it, the others relax in knowing that if one man can do it, they can too. To help absorb the impact from this height, most of the divers wear at least 2 tight suits, sometimes 3, and they wear tight supportive braces over the knees. All the divers have consented to talk with us briefly through a microphone up on the platform. We may get a word in with some of them.
Rick, can you hear us? This is Kenny and Diana down at poolside. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Well, what do you think, buddy?
This thing's getting higher every year.
You got that right. What's your feeling? Are you going to do it, or are you going to walk down?
Oh, no, I'm going to do it.
No doubt, huh?
No doubt.
Well, Rick, you looked beautiful on your 130-foot dive. Is that about the way you're going to put it in this time?
Well, I'll try to be a little cleaner. It never hurts to be a little cleaner.
All right, we're going to leave you to your own thoughts now. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
He certainly appears to be ready this year. He's shaking the ladder back and forth, but the ladder, I've been told, is as stable as it's ever been any previous of the 9 years.
Look at this view. This is not only SeaWorld, it's all the surrounding areas in the Mission Bay area here right outside San Diego. Getting his knee supporters in place. This is Rick's wife, Barbara, one of the first women cliff divers, and his little 2.5-year-old Holly, and the 2.5. Half-month-old Scarlett, I'm sure, concerned for his safety at this moment.
Rick has chosen his favorite dive. It's a 3-position back somersault.
Сколько там? Ну, 100 метров, короче.
Just falls. Oh, he's got to hold it. He's moving a little too fast. Oh, he punched through. Good dive. I'm sure he's not hurt. He really punched through.
Ken, this makes me very nervous.
All right. Me nervous too, Diana. I didn't see him come up to the water, and I thought maybe I was wrong for a minute, but you could see the way he punched through, and I'm sure we'll see it in slow motion. Now he falls, he flies, and he's got to really, really hold this. This is what gives him the control. Now you see what he does right here. He kicks through, and that's what got him down safely.
Rick Winters scores 7, 6, 7, 7, 6.5. They drop the high and the low score, add the 3 middle scores together, and Rick Winters sets a tough precedent.
В заднице он там приехал. Ага, чувствительное место, чувствительное. Чувствительность у него.
And for about a day, even as it didn't change anything, which we showed you the moment the news broke, to a series of irrelevant court cases that basically are continuing to get tossed or pulled by Trump officials and allies themselves. Now that's now happening to a key allegation in a Trump Pennsylvania lawsuit, which is dropping the claim that hundreds of thousands of ballots should have been tossed because of how they were monitored. Now voters
А, ну да. Да, ну да. Нет, не давай.
in 4 other key states who had alleged voter fraud are dropping their lawsuits. This is a continuing trickle of courtroom failures that have been tied together by the visage of this man, Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, who's now supposed to lead some sort of new litigation, but will work independent of the Trump campaign's formal legal operation, which even Republicans admit is another sign that Trump is giving up on the formal attempt to win cases and instead turning to a TV lawyer who could just use the theme of court as a foundation for these theatrics. And Giuliani's definitely already going down that road with outlandish and false claims on Fox News this weekend. Now, you're about to hear some of the false claims that
Она тебе так просто при себя говорит. Ну там ничего не написано. Ну ладно, понял. Понял. Да, ну нет, наоборот, нет. Ну нам это есть оно самое. Это наоборот. Ну нет, наоборот. Ну, Постой. Что пристали ко мне? Нет, серьезно. Да, нет.
that we have been fact-checking, followed by a legal expert who will further correct them. So just buckle up briefly for this bonkers clip.
He's gotten more evidence of the rigging that went on. He's really outraged. It's way beyond what people think, including a very, very dangerous foreign company, a company that has close ties with Venezuela and therefore China. It's a radical left company. One of the people there is a big supporter of Antifa. Our votes are sent overseas. This is another attempt to try to defeat him by illegal means. It's no different than the impeachment. It's done by largely the same people.
The reference to impeachment is particularly rich because it was the former mayor's Ukraine plot that got his client, President Trump, impeached. Then as now, Donald Trump is relearning a very old legal concept. Mo Giuliani, mo problems. We turn now to former federal prosecutor John Flannery, who knows Giuliani personally. You could see very old legal concept. Then as now, Donald Trump is relearning a very old legal concept. Mo Giuliani, mo problems. We turn now to former federal prosecutor John Flannery, who knows Giuliani personally. You could see they worked.
Что за... Привет, ненормальный, блин. Что такое? Почему? В чем проблема?
together in the mid-1970s. He has extensive experience as well as advising congressional investigations on these types of issues. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Ari.
Let's start with the Giuliani of it. I guess this is where the vaunted legal challenges end. Fittingly, perhaps, not in a courtroom, not in some other method of protest or civil disobedience or anything that might be vaguely civic, but
right.
in a Fox News green room.
Well, that's the safest place to tell lies these days. You know, faux news. Maybe you can't say it, but I certainly can. And objectively, if you take that bonkers segment that you just had, he made reference to contacts to Venezuela and to strongmen and so forth, and that corporation has none. They reached out for a liberal contributor and tried to merge that together with it, and that's not true. So it's always been true, I guess, from day one with Trump. Even as a candidate, you couldn't believe what he said unless he made an admission against his own interest. And Rudy Giuliani has been that and worse. It's sort of he's made admissions for other people. And the worst thing we have here is a man who had the capacity as a young man to be a great trial lawyer and a great model for people to understand the law in America. And instead, he's taking the talents he's lost as a young man and distorting and misrepresenting our election process. And he's attacking it with no facts in any of these actions. Judges we're lucky to have who have questioned the facts. You know, was there a person who could observe? Oh, well, yeah, there was, and they were closer, but we had other people that we wanted to be present. There are these kinds of contradictions. And then when people are about to come to court and to be judged by a judge who's going to ask facts and see if the law fits, they either withdraw the case or it's thrown out. So I think the long game here is to undermine our electoral process. And if you think about, I mean, you had Schiff on here a few moments ago, and I was glad to hear him speak. But if we go back to that, what was Trump to do for his puppet master, Putin? Was it to destroy or to compromise or to harm in any way possible the American principles of justice and law and the Constitution? I think so. What does he get out of it? I don't know. Is it defensive or whatever? But if you were to take how he's run this election and how he's failed us in the coronavirus, just the most recent errors, and how he's compromised our society, he is the enemy of the people. He is the enemy of the state. And if we had time, he should be impeached so he could never hold office again. And right behind him should be Rudy Giuliani, who's going into court. And apparently there's a conspiracy of a confederacy of dunces who are prepared to tell the most bizarre things to judges in order to distort this process. And it was interesting in the lawsuit that was filed that is considered frivolous, rightly so, in Pennsylvania, they make reference to Gore against Bush. And it's like they're trying to squeeze what they don't have in fact into something like the question of equal protection in Florida, where there was a separation of, I don't know, 574 votes. Whereas we have, if I remember correctly, something like 70,000 spread in Pennsylvania. And that's not the only state in which Biden is beating his fill in the blank. And so I think what we have here is Rudy has proven himself by his different adventures, Rogue Rudy or Silly Rudy, when he's not protecting his shirt or whatever else he's doing. He is part of this cabal of people who would compromise what's best about America and who would literally support a man who is, by doing nothing, killing people in America, not protecting us against this virus. So if there's a legal pathogen, it's this duo. And if there is one that's true, that is actually killing people, it's the failure to act on the coronavirus.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.
Теперь сторис доступны для любого.
приходят и просто делают. Психотерапия, психика психологи остаются. Маленький. Киркир. Ну да, типа вода это здесь